Once again, namaskar to everybody, and I'm pleased to welcome you to be with me at this wonderful evening to listen to the wonderful Word of God. We all know that at that battleground of Kurukshetra, Arjuna witnessed that universal appearance of the Lord. And we'll continue chapter 11 today, and we may finish that. And in case we have more time, we'll be proceeding further. But before I take you to the main topic of Bhagavad Gita, let me do pranam to our rishis and munis. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayo Mudiraye Om Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namaha Vai Brahma Vidhaya Vasishtaya Namo Namaha Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Bande Bhagavanto Punaha Punaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Parijantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. So chapter 11, we are, if you remember, in our last setting, last Tuesday, Arjuna requested the Lord to forgive him because not understanding the divinity of the Lord. Arjuna mentioned that, oh Lord, sometimes I call you friend, sometimes I call you the Shakha, sometimes I call by your name. And willingly or unwillingly, in front of you or in front of the other people, sometimes I call you in different name. So please forgive me. Please forgive me how like a friend forgive his friend. And also, if you remember that Arjuna requested the Lord that he was in fact a little bit afraid to see that that fearful appearance of the Lord, and so he requested the Lord to appear in front of him in his four-handed Lord Vishnu appearance in the pleasant form. We all know that when you come to our temple or when you visit a temple, you see that Lord Vishnu, the Murti, with four hands, very pleasant appearance. Or sometimes you see Radha Krishna Murti and you see Lord Krishna standing like Banke Bihari with a flute in his hand. It's a very pleasant appearance. We are not familiar to see that Lord standing in front of us in that fearful appearance. So it was natural that Arjuna was afraid in his mind. Arjuna was not feeling comfort. He was not feeling, he was a little bit disturbed in his mind. He was puzzled also. And so he requested the Lord, Lord, could you please appear in front of me in your pleasant appearance? That was the request of the Arjuna to the feet of the Lord. And that we completed in our last week discourse. So today we starting verse number 40 of chapter 11. Sanjaya Uvacha Ityarjunam Vasudevastatthva Swakam Rupam Darshayamaso Punaha Ashwaswayamaso cha Bhitamenam Bhutva Punaha Sammabhupur Mahatma Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. That is the verse number 40. Verse number 50, I'm sorry, that was the verse number 50. So I'm reading the verse number 50 meaning. Sanjaya said, after saying this, Vasudeva Sri Krishna appeared before Arjuna in his divine Lord Sri Vishnu form. Noble soul Krishna again appeared before Arjuna in his charming human appearance and consoled frightened Arjuna. So you could see. So this verse prove that that Bhagavan or the Lord is always ready to specially bless to his devotees. That is proved in this particular verse. Because if you remember at the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna requested the Lord to appear in front of him in his universal appearance. And Bhagavan Krishna did that. He appeared. He did appear in front of Arjuna in his universal or infinite form. And Arjuna saw the entire world, the entire universe, the entire creation, its beginning and middle and end, everything in that wonderful appearance. But then Arjuna was not feeling comfort. He was feeling very uneasy. He was afraid in his mind. He was a little bit confused also. He was not familiar to see such an kind of terrible appearance of the Lord. And that is how he requested the Lord to appear in front of him in his pleasant human form. And we could see here, it is Sanjaya who spoke this particular verse to his master Dhritarashtra at the palace of Hastinapur. So Sanjaya narrating what is going on at the battleground to his master. Sanjaya said that Ittarjanang Vasudevos Tathokta Swakang Rupam Darshaya Maso Punaha. Sanjaya said, after saying this, Vasudeva Sri Krishna appeared before Arjuna in his human form. So that means to please Arjuna. And Lord Krishna appeared in his, that Arjuna did not see anymore that terrible appearance. Instead, he saw that Lord Sri Vishnu form. And if you remember that Lord Vishnu's appearance is beautiful appearance. Shantakaram Bhujagosayanam Padmanabham Suresham. Lord Vishnu is like bluish appearance with 4 hands, with his divine form. He was standing right there in front of Arjuna. Arjuna was so lucky. I could imagine that he was so fortunate. He did not go to the Himalayan jungle for tapasya or austerity. He did not spend years of time meditating silently, sitting at the bank of the river Ganges in Rishikesha. He did not, did all those kind of spiritual practices we do in monastery, like fasting, and they're doing all those tapasya in Ekadashi or full moon night, all those. He did not do all those things, but he was so fortunate that he could see the Lord in different appearance. And today, at this battleground of Arjuna, while there was millions of soldiers and warriors were standing there, they did not know what was going on at the middle of the battleground. Lord Krishna appeared in front of Arjuna in his beautiful appearance. Shakang Rupam Darshaya Masu Bhuyaha. He again appeared there in his pleasant form. And those who are familiar with Bhagavatam, at different places of Bhagavatam, that Vyasa or Vyasdev gave the description of the beauty of the Lord. You know that I always that you heard many times I recite Bonomali Ghanashyamo Pitavasu Manohara. The Lord Krishna appear, wearing a garland with flower, Pitavasa, yellow kind of cloth, Manohara. I mean, it's mind captivating appearance. And this is how Yogi, Rishi, Muni, the devotees, they, that chant the name of the God silently, they practice meditation, they accept a guru for spiritual guidance to see that beautiful appearance. And a lot of people ask us also when we go to the field for preaching purposes. People do ask questions, Swamiji, have you seen God front to front? I wish that how Arjuna was such a wonderful soul, such fortunate that he saw all these beautiful appearance, divine appearance, heavenly appearance of the Lord right there at that battleground. Ashashvaya Masocha Bhitamenam. Arjuna was afraid. Please keep in mind, Arjuna was a known hero, known warrior. He never knew what is fear. He never knew to be afraid. Like how we, like today I was getting phone call from morning, at least 5 phone call, that the parents are very kind of, this kind of phone call I'm getting, since I came back from India, and then the problem, the especially virus going very high in India. And so phone call keep coming to ashram. So naturally we are very afraid. And an unseen enemy, the invisible enemy terrorizing us last 1.5 years. But Arjuna was not a warrior like he could be afraid of anything. But seeing that terrible appearance, that fearful appearance, so Arjuna was that seeing that extraordinary appearance of the Lord. Arjuna was afraid in his mind, and he was shaking. He folded hand. He prayed to the feet of the Lord to appear in front of him in his pleasant appearance. So Lord Krishna consoled him, Arjuna, Mabhoi. This is the message of the Upanishad, Vedant philosophy. Vedant philosophy say, Mabhoi, don't be afraid. Because there will be difficulties in life. There will be ups and downs in life. Time will come when like a tornado come in life, it break down everything. But that does not mean life is going to end there. We raise our head again and we face the challenges of life. We do not hesitate to dominate all the challenges, difficult time coming in front of us. And then we move forward in life because life have to move forward. Life cannot stop at one place, regardless what happened. And so life have to move forward. And that is why the Upanishad, the rishis of Upanishad, they proclaimed Mabhoi. Don't be afraid. Face the challenges of life with bravery, with heroism, with enthusiasm, with encouragement, with inspiration. So Ashashvaya Masocha Bhitanam, Arjuna was afraid, and Lord Krishna consoled him and said, don't be afraid. Bhutva Punaha Sommo Vapur Mahatma. That great soul Arjuna, that great soul Lord Krishna, that noble soul Lord Krishna, Bhutva Punaha Sommo. So he appeared in front of Arjuna in his pleasant. First he appeared in the Lord Vishnu, appearing Lord Vishnu form with 4 hands. And then he appeared in front of Arjuna in his 2-hand human appearance, like how Lord Krishna was before. Bhutva Punaha Sommo Gopur Mahatma. That noble soul, that great soul, Lord Krishna, appeared in front of Arjuna in his human form. So let us bow to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna again. Om He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jagutpate Gopeshu Gopika Kantam Radha Kanta Namostute Satchidananda Rupaya Vishyate Pattadi Hetave Tapotrayo Vinashayo Sri Krishnaya Vayom Namah Om Namah Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. So that was the verse number 50. Let me take you to the verse number 51. Arjuna Uvacha Drishtvedang Manusham Rupam Tabo Samyam Janardana Idani Masmi Sambrityaha Sachetaha Prakritim Gataha Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Arjuna said, O Lord Janardana, having seen your pleasant and charming human form, at present I am happy. I am at peace and I recovered myself. You could see Arjuna's eyes was joyful. Arjuna's eyes, there was tears in his eyes of joy, tears of joy. And he was looking at that wonderful appearance of the Lord, Bhagavan Sri Krishna standing right there in front of him with his heavenly appearance with two hands. Arjuna said, Drishtvedang Manusham Rupam. Hey Krishna, hey Janardhan, hey Madhusudan, hey Nandalal. Seeing at your human form. So this is one of the philosophy, Bhagavad Gita, the preaching. Please keep in mind, if you remember in chapter 4, that Lord Krishna mentioned there that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata obhutthana madharmasya tadatmanam srijamaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami juge juge. So that is the philosophy of the incarnation of the Supreme as human being is being established in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The chapter 4 proclaiming those verses that Arjuna, whenever there is a rise of that unrighteousness, when this world is dominated by the terrorists, when there is lawlessness in this world, anarchy in this world, I come age after age to destroy this wickedness from this world, to wash the dirt from this world and re-establish dharma. And I give protection to the righteous one. That is being established in the chapter number 4. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita strongly preaching the philosophy of incarnation. Keep in mind, in Hindu way of practices, we don't say that Lord Krishna is a messenger of God. We don't say that. We say Lord Krishna is God himself. That is the philosophy we preach in Hindu way of practice or in the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. But in Upanishad, in Vedanta philosophy, we did not do that. We don't see that. In Vedanta philosophy, the rishis of the Vedanta philosophy, they always encourage us to go deep inside, meditate silently, and try to discover your inner beauty. Know thyself. Know thyself. Ask yourself, who are you? Why you came to this world? What is your true identity? So, what is the right goal of life? Those are the things we discuss in Vedanta philosophy. But in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, is establishing the human appearance of the Supreme. That is the big difference between the Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita. So Drishyadang Manusham Rupam, O Krishna, He Madhusudan, by looking at your heavenly human form, Tabu Sommam Janardana, He Janardan, O Lord of the Mass, that Sommam is very pleasant, very charming appearance, Lord Krishna appeared there. Idani Mosmi Sambrittu. Now I feel peace of my mind because I was so terrified, I was so afraid, I was so confused, I was so perplexed. I was, I did not, I was like lost seeing your terrible kind of appearance. But now I feel peace in my mind. Idani Mosmi Sambrittu. Sachetaha. I regained my kind of recovered myself. I recovered myself. Sachetaha, pratikingata. And I feel natural now, like how I used to be before. So that is a kind of beautiful things we read in this particular verse. Arjuna was very happy. Arjuna was very joyful. Arjuna's body was shivering with joy. You could imagine if somebody see God in front of you, if you see by God by your eyes, what you need in this life, the land, building, money, you don't need anything because you got the most valuable wealth. Like Drobinam Tomevo, oh Lord, you are the most valuable wealth of my life. Tomevo Mata cha Pita Tomevo, you are our mother, you are our father. Tomevo Vidya Drobinam Tomevo, you are our education and learning. And you are the most valuable wealth of my life. So if somebody see God in front, so what we need in life anymore? I mean, that is the fulfillment of the human birth. So we succeed to take a human birth by seeing God in front of us. So then throughout this chapter 11, and we all together, we could see in the eyes, through the eyes of Arjuna, that we could see the wonderful appearance of the Lord, and also we could see the beautiful, charming appearance. Bhagavatam giving the description of this human appearance of the Lord, how? He said that look at his feet. Yogi, Rishi, Muni, devotees, continuously offering water, flower, tulsi leaves, their pranam, everything. They meditating at that Lord's feet, at their mind, deep into their mind. So Lord Krishna says, look at this feet, because at the bottom of the feet, there is Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padra, all the sign is there. I mean, there are the practitioner, they just meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. And his large eyes, his forehead, his thick curly hair, all this, the smile, that mind captivative smile, that body decorated with the garland from the flower from the garden, and his clothes, the whole appearance with his flute, with his peacock feather at the crown, and he's wearing a crown made of the flower, putting a piece of peacock feather on the top of the crown. The whole appearance, the Bhagavatam giving a beautiful description. Even mere reading that description, you feel like you are being lost in divinity. What we need in life, please tell me that if we feel the touch of God in this human birth, there is nothing that we could want. This material object, it will remain here. You and me, many came before, they gone. Many coming in future, they also will be gone. This thing, land, building, property, money, this all will remain here as it is. So that was the verse number 51. Let me take you to verse number 52. Sri Bhagavan say, Sudurdarshamidame rupam Sudurdarshamidame Rupam Drishtavanashi Janmamo Devayapyasya Rupasya Nityam Darshanamakanksinaha Sudurdarshamidame Rupam. Jai Jai Krishna Govinda Madhusudana Ramo Narayana Hare. Jai Jai Krishna Govinda Madhusudana Ramo Narayana Hare. Jai Jai Krishna Govinda Madhusudana. Sri Bhagavan Ubachal, Lord Krishna said, the Lord said, what you have seen me in my most charming and divine appearance is not easy to see, as it is very rare. Even gods are anxious and would love to see me in this charming appearance. You could see. Sri Bhagavan, Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna, you all know that Srimad Bhagavad Gita, basically dialogue between Lord Krishna and his most favorite student Arjuna. So Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna now, while he is standing in that charming form in front of Arjuna, say, hey Arjuna, Sudurdarsham idam rupam. The way you see my pleasant appearance is very difficult to see. I would say it's not very difficult. It is almost impossible to see. We read in the book, like Mirabai, like Goswami Tulsidas, like that Surdas. And we see in the life of Acharya Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj, we read in book, we listen to the senior Swamijis. They saw God like our Gurudev Swami Pranavandaji Maharaj. He saw Lord Narayana, Lord Sri Vishnu at the Tulsi plant. And it is because of this, the Tulsi plant is so much regarded and worship in the Bharat Sevashram Sangh. And you will see one time a monk was standing near to a Tulsi plant and his saffron cloth went to the Tulsi plant. And Guru Mahasi immediately moved that. I could feel the touch of Lord Vishnu right there. So Tulsi plant is so much regarded. I mean, if you go to any Vaishnava temple, any temple, you will see Tulsi plant is so much. People love to give water and nourish it, nurture it. And same happened to in Bharat Sevashram Sangh. We saw in the life of Mirabai. Mira kahe Prabhu Giridhar Nagar, Harsha Harsha Jasha Gai. Mira kahe Prabhu Giridhar Nagar. Mira say that Mira's Lord only is Lord Sri Krishna. And the root of hair of our body chanting the name of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So Mira kahe Prabhu Giridhar Nagar Harsha Harsha Jasha Gai. Tumo bina more kon khabar le Govardhane Giridhari. Hey Giridhari, O Lord Krishna, you lifted that mountain to give protection to the people in Vrindavan. Hey Giridhari, apart from you, who will be looking after me? It is you giving all protection to me. It is you supplying food to me. It is you gave me good clothes to wear. It is you gave me a family. It is you gave me home. It is you gave me the good health. It is everything yours and I belongs to you too. Everything belongs to you. Everything is owned by you. I'm your dash, servant, birth after birth. I'm your servant. That is how Mirabai sang. So this human appearance, what you see, Arjuna, in front, I'm standing in front of you, Sudur Darshan, almost impossible to see it. Drishtavanasi janmamo, the way you see me here. Deva api asya rupasya. Deva, the gods. And you could ask question, you could raise questions. Swamiji, who are these gods? I mean, we know that when you go to the Vedas, especially Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Vedas, when you go there, you see the name of the gods like the moon god, like water god, like mountain god, sun god, fire god, wind god. Look like these are the kind of one god looking after one particular department, like wind god taking care of the wind, the sun god giving sunlight to us. The mountain god is the mountains are there. Ocean god giving water to us, giving rain. Indra Devata, they give the rain, the god of the rain. So he gives rain to us timely so that we could get fruits and eatable things from the garden. So, but these gods also are anxious. They cry to see me in this beautiful appearance, in this heavenly appearance. Deva upi asya rupasya nityam darshana kamshina. Every day they are so anxious to see me in this beautiful appearance. So you could see that Arjuna looked like more lucky, more fortunate than these gods, because Arjuna spent so much time with Krishna. They played together, they did joking together, and they walked together, they ate from the same plate. And Arjuna, Krishna, they they spent wonderful time, so much of time togetherly. So he looked like Arjuna's fortune has no end. So Deva upi asya rupasya nityam darshana kankshina. Every day they want to see. They are so anxious to see Krishna standing in front of them. So that was the verse number 52. I take you to verse number 53. Nahum Vedar na tapusha na dane na cha chejjaya nahum Vedar na tapusha na dane na ijjaya shakyam evam vidho drashtum Drishtavanasi mam yatha. Oh, He Krishna, He Krishna, He Krishna, Sri Madhusudana. Nahang vedari na tapusha na dane na cha ijjaya shakya evam vidho drashtum drishtavanasi mam yatha. Lord Krishna continued to say to Arjuna, Arjuna, my divine form, my heavenly form, as you have seen me right here, it is not possible to see it by the study of the holy Vedas, by practicing austerities, by doing charities, or by fire worship. You could see. Arjuna, what you see, I'm standing in front of you in this charming human appearance. It is not possible to see with the study of the holy Vedas. The study, if you remember, one time I explained about the Pancha Mahayagya. Among the Pancha Mahayagya, 5 types of duties we perform in every day. Among them, one of the most important one is study scriptures daily. Verses, holy verses from the sacred text daily is called Odhyanam. So it is daily that I do every day. I study Bhagavad Gita, I read verses from Bhagavatam or verses from Ramayanam or other scripture. This is our daily duty. We must do it. Verses from Chandi. But because it's very difficult to get a right teacher to teach us the Vedas, and sometimes everybody is not being fit to study Vedas. So there is selected number of students who learn Vedas. And one Veda take 12 years to be master in one Veda. But the Lord Krishna said, just mere study of the holy Vedas would not give you the opportunity to see me in this charming appearance. Because sometimes that Vedant teaching or study of the scriptures, sometimes you see, sometimes people chanting, it sounds so dry like. There's no madhu or honey in it, rasaha. Because Bhagavan Rasavaishaha, Bhagavan is madhura, sweet. The chanting, silent chanting of the name of God, or chanting loudly with a group of devotees, with the fellow devotees loud, or you singing the wonders of the Lord loud, or may you remember him his beauty. This all very sweet because we enjoy doing it. Rasavaishaha, that since you practicing meditation, you worshiping the Lord, your life also become rasamoy, means very sweet and very happy. Anybody coming near to you, they also feel the touch of joy. They also feel touch of divinity. Like how in a mud pot, if you give water in a July, August month, and that pot becomes so cool. When somebody drink a glass of water from a mud pot, it's so cool. It's like that. So anybody who is practicing meditation or doing some kind of spiritual austerities, anybody come near to them, they feel the touch of divinity. They feel the touch of God. But Lord Krishna said, mere study of the sacred text would not give you text like roadmap. If you remember there was time in America when people used to take, say that you're driving to Washington, D.C., you have a book, map. You used to see it and then you drive. Then you stop some gas station again and see the map, which road, and then you close the map, you keep the seat side by side seat, and then again you drive. If you remember those days, there was a time. Now, that machine came, okay, make a right turn, make a right turn, make a left turn, go straight, is showing all those things. It came, a couple of years now. But I remember when I came to America, those time people has a big book, used to be in the beside, and they used to see the book and then drive. So religious text is like that road map. We read it, we study, but it is our duty now to sit down quietly at the corner of your home to go deep into the meditation and feel the touch of God. We have to do that. And meditation will make you free from fear of coronavirus 100%. Meditation, it will give you peace. It will cool down your pressure. It will bring down your pressure. It will bring down all kind of diseases of life. Because when you're doing meditation, everything is calm down now. The body is calm down. There's no tension there. There's no kind of excitement or curiosity or anxiousness is there. Because of the meditation, all the indriyas functioning very cool way. And so only study of the Vedas would not give us the taste of divinity. It's like roadmap. Not tapusha, not Vedur, not tapusha. Those will be coming in future. Chapter 16 or chapter 7 in hope will be able to do with you. I'm not sure. But in chapter 16, 17 will give us the different kind of tapusha. For the time being, I just quickly mention of 6 kind of meditation mentioned by Shiva Mahapuran. Because here tapusya, like sharirik tapusya, the physical austerity, and mental tapusya, and the bachik tapusya, the austerity of the word. These are 3 kind of tapusya we always do. Sharirik tapasya, to keep the body clean, healthy, doing a regular exercise, daily exercise, so make you strong. And this virus or coronavirus or COVID-19, they will be afraid to seeing you. They will run away. So, so to keep the body strong, we need to do exercise daily. We need to keep the body clean, and we need to wear simple, clean clothes. And then coming mental tapasya, we need to wash our mind, not to entertain any kind of anti-negative kind of thoughts. Damaging, destructive, depressive, negative thought kill us. It's like tiger eating our energy. Nurturing some kind of hatred and jealousy of the fellow citizen of this beautiful world, or fellow brother and sisters also is not good. So tapasya is a mental tapasya. We need to keep the mind. We need to learn how to think positively, constructively, in a brighter way, in a brilliant way. That is very, needed at this time. So mental tapasya, and also we can keep our mind by meditation, by japa, by chanting the name of the God. So these are the mental tapasya, and then tapasya of the word. If you don't need to speak, don't speak. Listen more and speak less. Because word is so powerful. If you preserve it, you'll be so much benefited. So these 3 kind of tapasya we'll be learning elaborate in chapter 16 or 17. So but what Lord Krishna say here, that even Arjuna, you cannot see this charming appearance by mere tapasya. Not danina. Danam paramam dharmam. At this Kali Yuga, at this dark age, charity is the best way of worshipping the Lord. Philanthropic activities, Bharat Sevashram Sam. Swamiji, we want to give a donation, but we are not sure where to give it. What is the right place to give? And what is coming to our mind? The name of the Bharat Sevashram first coming to our mind. We believe that is the only organization we can trust, and that our 100% donation will go to the cause we are collecting, or we are giving our hard-earned money. I get so much of phone call here. Even still, that right now that things going on in India, people want to help their relative, their, that brother and sisters back in country. So charity, and there are so many, worldwide, people become famous by giving away everything. I'm not mentioning any name, but we all know that there are people, they earn money and wealth, gather wealth, working very hard. Then they gave away everything, building churches, building mosques, building temple, building school, building orphanage, building hospitals, feeding poor people or less fortunate people in the country that needed. They give away everything. So, but still that charity also would not give. That actually it will purify us. It will, we all believe in law of karma. Chapter 3, if you remember, we discuss about the law of karma. Please, law of karma, nobody can avoid. The seed I'm sowing today at my land, it is me, I'm going to reap the fruit of that plant. The action I'm doing now, the thoughts I'm thinking now, the kind of life I'm living now, our daily activities now, what I'm doing, I'm building, I'm carving my own future by my own hand. That is called law of karma. Good action must bring good result, and destructive action must bring destructive result. That is called law of karma. So, danam paramam dharma, dan, philanthropy or charity make us broad, make us very big heart, and it We get the blessings from the Supreme, but only charity would not give us the supreme realization, because after charity we gave away everything. We need to sit down, closing our eyes and go deep into meditation. Nacha ijjaya, practicing jejna. Ijjaya is the last word of the verse number 53, the first line. Ijjaya means practicing. We perform so much of Jaggu. Pancha Mahajaggu, I talk of Pancha Mahajaggu. I'm not going to mention it today. But also we do the fire sacrifice, Havan ceremony we do. And there are so many types. Our life, our all action counted as the Havan ceremony. But that also is not going to give us the way Arjuna see in front of Arjuna. Na vedar, na tapusha, na danena cha ijjaya, shakku ebang vido drustum, drishtvanasi mamjata. Arjuna, the way you see me in front of you, you will not be able to see me. It needs that faultless, pure bhakti, pure devotion, that will help you to see me in this beautiful, charming appearance. I'm coming to the conclusion of the chapter 11. So let me take you to the verse number 54. Verse number 54 of chapter 11. Om Bhakta tu anannaya Bhakta tu anannaya shakya aham evang vidharjuna Gyatum drustum chatvapena pravestum cha parantapa bhakta tu anannaya. Om Krishna, Om Krishna, Om Krishna, Om Krishna. Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna, O Arjuna, the subjugator of enemies, but by unfaltering, undivided, and one-pointed devotion. Please listen again, I'm reading. But by unfaltering, undivided, and one-pointed devotion, one can see me truly, one can understand me properly, and one can be union with me. Oh, such a beautiful verse. Arjuna, a devotee who has bhakta tu anannaya, ananya bhakti, undivided, one-pointed, one goal, regardless what come. Up come, ups come, down come, good time come, bad time come, sadness come in life, joyful time come in life, that we improve our life so much and again we go down, whatsoever come in life. But nobody break my devotion to the feet of my Lord. It's very difficult because, like I remember, I think yesterday somebody called me because of the COVID virus, somebody lost his mother in India and telling Swamiji, I'm not going to worship. I love my mother so much. She was my heart and she was my life. And I'm not going to worship anymore. I'm not going to do puja to any gods and goddesses anymore, because God is so cruel that he took away my mother from me. And I cannot think my life without my mother. It's a very sad kind of, a lot of people going through this pain now. It's a phase of very kind of difficult time. But then a true devotee, whatever come in life, ananya bhakti, undivided, one-pointed devotion. Life is a journey. You have seen if you visited, the recent India tour, I was visiting some villages. Say you are near to a canal, or even I was visiting Kumbh Mela, so I was there almost 15 days. Every day early in the morning by 4:30 after morning aarti, I used to go to the river Ganges, opposite side of the river Ganges, and I used to walk 2 hours. So sometimes I sit down at a bench or under a tree there, meditating on Mother Ganga. I could see that the river Ganges flowing. But sometimes you see a flower floating, or somebody, offer a flower to the river Ganges. That flower floating in the current of the river Ganges, and it's just going. So life is like that, is floating in the current of life. Our life should move forward. On my way, I'm meeting so many friends from my childhood days to the school days, to the college days, to the university days, to the beginning of monastic life. At the beginning of your life, you enter the family life, you met so many people, and so many friends came and gone from your life. Many friends, you don't remember their face anymore. Your good friends in school life, in your college life, they all gone. We created, make new friends, and we living with our new friends. So, but life did not stop. Life moved forward and just is going towards the last direction of life. So this is how the bhakti, the devotion, is one-pointed. Bhakti to anunaya, unfaltering, undivided, one-pointed, one goal, fixed, very determined devotion. It is not going to move from the feet of the Lord. Shakho aham evam vid Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, a devotee who has that kind of devotion can see me in this charming appearance. So that show this verse particularly proving that yes, we can see God, but we need our own effort to see that. Gyatum drustum, can understand the Lord properly, can see God in front of him, tatvena, provistum, and can be marching or uniting with the Lord. What is unity with the Lord? I feel oneness with the Lord. While you're doing meditation, my body is sitting at that my meditation seat. I'm sitting with keeping my body erect, neck, head, everything straight. And I went deep into my meditation, and I see that beautiful appearance of the Bhagavan Sri Krishna at the altar of my heart, and I just lost in his divinity. Even though my body, physical body, is outside sitting, but I'm being lost, I'm being united. I become one with my Lord. That is called Sampurna Samadhi. So, Gyatum drustum cha tattvena pravistuncha parantapa. Parantapa, again, Lord Krishna remind Arjuna that Arjuna, you are the subjugator, you are the destroyer of your enemies. So, O destroyer of your enemies, O subjugator of your enemies, that by unfaltering, undivided, one-pointed devotion, one can see me truly, one can understand me properly, and can be union with me. That was the verse number 54. Now I take you to the last verse of this chapter. Chapter 11, I think it should be the last verse, and then we'll see the summary of this particular. Yes, it is the last verse of chapter 11. This is a very beautiful chapter. Hope and that you enjoy, because we were watching that, we are witnessing that wonderful appearance of Lord in front of us. So let me read for you the verse number 55 of the chapter 11. Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Mat karma krit mat parama mad bhaktaha sanga varjitaha nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu yaha samamiti pandava. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, O Pandava, O son of King Pandu, he who performs action for me, whose goal of life is me, who is my devotee, who is detached, and who is enemy to none, definitely he attains me. It's so beautiful. Let me read again the meaning. O Pandava, he who performs action for me, whose goal of life is me, who is my devotee, who is detached, and who is enemy to none, definitely he attains me. It's so beautiful, the last verse. Mat karmo krit mat paramo, mad bhakta sanga varjita. Mat karmo krit, that Arjuna, do action for me. You do action when you home, you working in office, you doing things for your home. I live in monastery, I do things for ashram. So here Lord Krishna say, do action for me, mat karma krit. Make sure the action do not make us like crazy. You know, some people are, is called, we call pagal, because they don't know why they are working so hard. They cannot think that what can be my puja to the lotus feet of the Lord. They cannot think that work could be a kind of austerity, because work making us matured, work making us experienced, work making us more enlightened, is teaching us so many things in everyday life. So mat karma krit, do action for me. Let your all action be my puja. Yat karasi jadasnasi jajjuhasi dadasi jat. Yat tapasasi kaunte tat kurusya madarpanam. Arjuna, whatever you eat, whatever charity you do, whatever austerities you do, whatever you speak, whatever things you do in life, let everything, you offer everything at my feet. So mat karma krit, do action for me. Mat param, hold me as the trustworthy friend of your life. Mat paramo, think that I am the final goal of your life. I'm your best friend of your life. Mad bhakta. You know, in material world, you always say, okay, he is my best friend, she is my best friend. We always say that, but when say that you got a new job, you changing the place, say that you're living in New Jersey almost 20 years, 25 years, you make so much of friend, you have so much of good friend, but you get a new job and you move to Florida, and then you're making new friends, you started to make new friends in Florida. All these best friends you had in New Jersey gradually disconnected. But here, you were in New Jersey, you were in New York City, you were in California, you were in India, you were in England, you were in any other country. But Krishna could be my friend wherever my body is, always and every moment, and every my incoming and outgoing breath. So mat paramo, mat bhakta. Arjuna, be my devotee. Be my devotee. This is a clear, very clear, instruction to Arjuna by his master, Lord Krishna. Sangha Varjitaha. Sangha Varjita, because attachments bring sorrows. You could see the life of King Dhritarashtra. His attachment with his elder son, Duryodhana, it destroyed everything from his life. Duryodhana, his son, took away peace from his life, his prestige, his honor, everything. He lost everything of life because of this wrongful attachment with the own son. Every parent, they love their children. Every mother, every father, they love their children. But one, we have to be very careful that when the bird, young bird, they have their wings, they will be fly away from the nest. The nest will be empty. It's called empty nest. When time comes, they will open their wing and they fly away. So, Sango Borjitaha, and also attachment with the Bishoy. Bishoy means object, material, Bishoy bish, material object like poison. It's a pain of life. It make you enemy. The brother become enemy. Your own brother, your own sister become enemy. They are not looking at your well-being. They are looking at your money. When you take your last, when you are going to die, your body will be one side. They will see first your checkbook. They will take your checkbook. It's so kind of poisonous, those things, material objects. We see at our life too. Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu. Be free from completely from enmity to anybody. There should be no enemy, because your goal is not, you did not come to this world. When you came to this world first time, you open your eyes, see that beautiful sky. You did not come here to make enemy with anybody. And when you leave this world, we should not have any enemy. Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu. We should not have no enmity with anybody at all. Samameti Pandava. O son of Mother Kunti, this is kind of person who can reach me. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavati Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Sangvade Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga Namo Ekadasha. Thus, this is the end of the chapter 11, 11th discourse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, known as Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, or the yoga of universal manifestation of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is known as the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman and as a scripture related to the various schools of yoga, is a dialogue between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna. So that was the chapter 11. Quickly, a kind of little summary of this chapter. So I think that will be a good kind of, and if we get time, we'll move forward. So first I take you to this one. If you remember that Arjuna requested the Lord that, oh Lord, I want to see your infinite form. Lord Krishna agreed to appear in front of Arjuna. But here in the verse number 8, Natumam shakyase drustum anenaiva sachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshu pashume jogamashwaram. Arjuna, I will be happy to appear in front of you in that universal form, but you cannot see me with your human eyes. These eyes see outside, good and bad. These eyes do not see inside. So, Divyam, we need inner vision, Divya Drishti. What is that Divya Drishti? Inner vision. Like how Narada, Saint Narada, Bhakta, devotee Dhruv, devotee Prahlad, when they sat for meditation, they could easily see that Lord dwelling at their altar of their heart. We need inner vision. You cannot express to anybody your joy. So, Divyam dadami te chakshu pasme jagavaswaram. Arjuna, I just move the curtain of illusion from your eyes and see the bright sunlight. Then you see the real beauty of this world. Because in front of our eyes, there is a curtain of Maya, of illusion. And that is why we are being confused. So that is one of the beautiful verses we read in chapter 11. And then, if you see in the verse number 12, Lord Krishna appeared in front of Arjuna in his Vishwarupa. That Vishwarupa covered the entire universe, not only the world, the entire universe. There was thousands of heads, thousands of hands, thousands of feet, thousands of eyes. Arjuna saw seen and unseen world in that big body. So the Vyasa or Vyasdev gave an example how that past beauty of the God could be compared. Here, the verse number 12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Jugapad Uttitam. If one time a 1,000 suns appeared in the eastern horizon. Imagine one sun appear in the morning time and the entire world is brightened. We feel so great joy by seeing sunlight. If 1,000 sun appear at burst at one time in the sky, that also hardly could be compared with the brilliance of the Lord. That was such a powerful. Jadiva sadrishisha bhasastasya mahatmana. So Arjuna, that is why Arjuna could not see that appearance for a long time. And then the verse number 18. Tamaksharam paramam veditavyam tamasya vishwasya paramo nidhanam tamabhaya shashvata dharma gopta sanatanastvam purusha matome. Arjuna glorifying the Lord. It is the same Arjuna who counted Krishna as his friend and is glorifying. Lord, you are imperishable. You are not manifested. You are to be known as the Supreme Purusha. You are the ultimate abode of all. You are deathless. You are ageless. And you are unchangeable. You are the preserver of eternal dharma. And you are the everlasting Lord. This is my opinion. You could imagine same Arjuna, warrior Arjuna, who counted Krishna as his charioteer, as his driver of his chariot, is telling Tamaksharam, you are the imperishable Lord. Paramam, you are the supreme Lord. Veditabham, you are to be known. Tamasya Vishwasya Paramaidanam, Lord, you are the abode of this universe. Tamabhaya, you are changeless, deathless. Shashvata, you are eternal. Dharma Gupta, you are the last word of Dharma. Shanatanastha, you are eternal Purusha. That is my opinion. So that was the Arjuna glorified the Lord. Then I take you to the verse number 32. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalasmi Lokokshaya Kriti Pravidha Lokan Samahurtumiha Pravittaha Ritepi Twang na Bhavishyanti Sarve Ye Avasthita Pratyanikeshu Yudha. That was the verse number 32. The blessed Lord said, Arjuna, I'm the all-devouring time, the death. Kalasmi, I'm standing at this battleground as Mahakal. I'm present here at this battleground to completely destroy all these uncountable evil people. Warriors were standing in front in the opposition army. Without you even, no one will survive in future. So you could see that is the Mahakal. We always use that look like the Mahakal dancing. If we see in today's world, I'm just praying every day, Lord, let you please stop your this dancing, because this world is being terrified. They're afraid. They are not feeling joy. They lost their joy of life. Lord, please stop it so that people can live a normal, joyful, pleasant life. Every day I'm praying to the Lord. So at that battleground of, you could imagine Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all those great warriors did not know that within 18 days, they all will be gone. That was a very beautiful verse. And one of the most important verse of the chapter 11, very powerful message. One of the very powerful verse. Tasmat tvam uttishta, Arjuna, tasmat tvam uttishta jasho lavasya, jitva shatrun bhungsha rajya samriddham, mayai vaite nihataha purvam evo, nimitta matrang bhava sabbhasachi. Oh, such a beautiful message. Arjuna, therefore, arise, earn undying glory. By conquering your enemies, you enjoy this prosperous kingdom, this prosperous world. They are already slain by me. Arjuna, you just be a cause only. Just be an instrument at my hand. Tasmat tamuttishtaja. Arise and awake. Lift up your head and work hard with determination to reach your goal. Don't stop till you reach your goal. It is the goddess of fortune will be waiting for you, for us, with a garland, victory of garland at her hand. Mother Lakshmi is waiting for the heroes who can conquer the obstacles of life. It's a very powerful message. I personally like it very much. then if you see the verse number 41 and 42, Arjuna repenting now. Sakheti matva prasabham jaduktam, he Krishna, he Jadava, he Sakheti, ajanata mohimanam tavedam, maya pramadat pranena bapi, jaccha abhasa, jaccha abhasa artham, asat kritosi, vihara sajja asana bhojaneshu, ekotho bapi achyuta, tat samoksham tat swamaye, tvam aham apriyam. Arjuna repenting. What he said? Unaware of your greatness, ignorantly, or because of my love to you, O Krishna, thinking that you are my friend, I call you as Krishna, as Yadava, or a friend, and that also I said to you very lightly. O Achyuto, at the time of games and sports, at the time of rest, at the time of sitting, or at the time of meal, alone or in front of friends and relatives, jokingly, whatever unaccepted behaviors I did to you, unthinkable you are, O Lord, I ask your forgiveness. You could imagine that God was with Arjuna and he did not realize that God was with him. And so, because he did all these mistakes, he was asking forgiveness to the Lord. It's such a wonderful, noble character of Arjuna. And then the last one I took you, right now I read, that was the verse number 55. These are the summary. I'm just giving you a kind of brief idea of the chapter 11. Mat karmo krit mat paramo, mat bhakta sangha varjita, nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu, yaha samameti pandava. So Lord Krishna gave the last message in chapter 11 to his the beloved student Arjuna. Arjuna, do action for me. Mat paramo, hold me at the sole goal of life. Mad bhakta, be my devotee. Sangha varjitaha, be detached from the things you don't need in life. Cut down the things unnecessary bondage you don't, unnecessary things you don't bring at your life. Nirvairaha sarvabhutesu, please do not feel enmity to anybody. Yah shamamiti Pandava. Hey Pandava, this is how that you'll be able to reach me. That was the message of the chapter 11. And I would like to start to the chapter 12 also, so that instead of stopping our discourse, we could continue and enjoy Bhagavad Gita. So I'm starting chapter 12 also today. And I hope that you enjoyed chapter 11. It is a beautiful chapter. So this is chapter 12. Chapter 12 known as Bhakti Yoga, or the Yoga of Devotion. So you could see the heading of this chapter give us the kind of idea, a feelings that in this particular chapter, we are going to discuss about the devotion. That is the most important thing. And also, if you remember, before we start Bhagavad Gita, months before, we were studying the Bhakti Sutra of Saint Narada. So, hope those who listen to that lectures, and I'm sure that prepare your mind to enjoy this chapter also. And those who did not get the opportunity to listen our lectures on Bhakti Sutra, if you visit our website, sevasramsangha.org, and I'm repeating again, sevasramsangha.org, and if you go to the recording, our Brian put all this recording very beautifully, and you'll be able to enjoy those lectures on Bhakti Sutra of Saint Narada. So let me take you to the first verse of the chapter 12. Om Atho Srimad Bhagavati Gita Dwadasodhyayo Bhakti Yoga Arjuna Uvacha Evam Shatatayuktaye Bhaktastvang Parijupashate Ye Chakpyaksharamabhyaktam Tesham ke yogavittamaha. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Arjuna said, Lord, in this way, devotees who worship you with sincere devotion, mind completely absorbed in you, and those who worship you with your unmanifested, imperishable aspect, among these two, who are better versed in yoga. You could imagine, this chapter is opened by a question by Arjuna. So this is also related to the last verse of the chapter 11. If you remember verse number chapter 11, last verse I just read in front of you, that Lord Krishna say, Mat karmo krit mat paramo mat bhakta sangha varjita nirvaira sarva bhuteshu yah samamiti Arjuna. Pandava. That verse I read, the last verse of the chapter 11, it is related to you. So Arjuna asking question, Lord, in this way, devotees who worship you with sincere devotion, mind completely absorbed in you, and those devotees who worship you with your unmanifested, imperishable aspect, among these two, who are better versed in yoga. So basically the question is Shakara Upasana and Nirakara Upasana. What is Shakara Upasana? You worshipping God, keeping an image in front of you, keeping a murti in front of you, keeping an idol in front of you. Like, for example, I'm worshipping Lord Krishna, keeping a beautiful image, beautiful murti, marble murti in front of me, decorated with the beautiful clothes, with garland, with crown, and with the diya, light, and in agarbatti, everything. So I'm worshipping, meditating Krishna with the image in front of me. This is called Shakar Upasana. And that is how you see in our temple, in this beautiful temple in New Jersey, Bharat Sevasram Sangha, you see beautiful murtis are there. Mother Kali, Lord Krishna, Mother Amba, all those Guru Maharaj murti. And then Nirakara Upasana. There is yogis, rishis, bhaktas, those who do not like to worship with an image in front. They love to meditate on the unmanifested, imperishable, formless aspect of God. No form. So, Shakara and Nirakara Upasana. And if you see in this world, like Hindus practicing Hinduism, in Hinduism, you see there is one division of people, one group of people love to worship God with image in front. And there is another group of devotees, they also practicing Hinduism, but they do not keep any murti or idols or images in their temple. They might be keeping a sacred book, holy book, or they might be keeping nothing. So there is two kind of, and there is in the Vedanta philosophy, those who went beyond and they just meditate on that unmanifested appearance of the Lord. So these kind of two division we see in the Hinduism. And if we see the world religion, Hindus practicing Hinduism, there is many other faiths people practicing. Christian world, then other world of religion. They have their own way of worshipping. They all doing right thing. Well, the goal is same. That I don't think that Hindus have one heaven and then other people from other faiths, they have their own heaven. I don't think so, because God is one, Father is one, that Creator is one, but He created in a different way, different parts of the world. That's why we worship in a different way. So now there's a great confusion and many unhappiness also broke out because of these two faiths, that Shakara Upasana, worshipping God with images, worshipping God with no images. When communal riot break out, you hear that people from one faith coming to entering a Hindu temple, breaking, knocking down of the murtis. And then you will see the other people polluting the places of worship of the other faiths also. We hear that. When communal riot break out, people become so ferocious, they lost their consciousness, they lose their good intellect, and they are blind, and they don't read. I'm reading in a newspaper that I think Saudi Arab or United Arab Emirates, I read in news they're introducing that study of the Hindu scripture like Ramayana or Mahabharata in their school. So the children born in those countries, they can be from their young age, they can be acquainted with the other faith also. So they can know that the people from other faith, how they're practicing, what is their religious book say, and what could be we could adjust ourselves and accommodate each other and make this world beautiful world, and this world could be none other than one family. So we need to study of the scripture from other faith to understand that what is the true meaning of their way of worship. But we don't do that, and that is how all these unhappiness grow up. You hear occasionally communal right breaking, and you hear in Ireland, you hear in India, you hear in other parts of the world. So Arjun, that was Arjuna's question. Oh Lord, this is how somebody, when a devotee worshipping you with sincere devotion, Satata Jukta, always connected with you. And there is people who worship his unmanifested appearance. Who are better in the words of yoga? It's a very contradictory question. Very difficult. You need time to answer of this question. If you support one, the other group, that means you are telling that other group of people are wrong, and they might be angry of you. So you need time, you need meditation, you need really to analyze properly and then answer. So let us see the answer of the Lord, and that will be the conclusion of today's discourse. The verse number 2, Lord Krishna replying to Arjuna. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Manaye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayapetas Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Sri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, devotees who have centered their mind to me, constantly think of me, ever attached with me, worship me devoutly, to me, they are the best yogis. Please, it's very interesting. It's a direct answer coming from the. These were so like Lord Krishna's telling among these two groups of people, two kind of devotees, people who worship with image in front, they are best, that look like here. I'm reading again for you. Sri Bhagavan said, devotees who have centered their mind at me, who constantly think of me, ever attached with me, worship me devoutly, to me, they are the best yogis. Mayajasya manom jemam, mind completely focused on me. Nitya Jukta, always absorbed in me, always attached with me. Those who are worshipping me, keeping a beautiful image in front, with beautiful dress, beautiful garland, heavenly appearance, Lord Krishna in front of you. Shraddhaya Paropetas, worship me with devotion, full devotion. Te me yuktatama mataha. Arjuna, to me, these are the best devotees. Now, the question coming, what about the people and devotees, those who are worshipping, not believing the Murti Puja or idol worship or the image worship? Are they wrong? There are millions of people in this world, even among Hinduism. Vedantists, they don't do any puja. They don't see they are doing all this puja we do at our temple. So all the Vedantists, those who practice Vedant philosophy in their life, those who do not keep any murti in that, there is many faiths in this world. They do not believe in murti puja. They do not believe the image worship. Are they wrong? Is it that Lord Krishna giving that message to Bhagavad Gita? I don't think so, because the Bhagavad Gita cannot do any kind of things which can hurt other people. So what will be the right answer of the people who are worshiping God without any form? That answer will be listening to next week, Tuesday, from the Lord. It's a beautiful topic. The chapter 12, many times we read in the Sadhu Bhandara, people giving the food and charity to the monks, like in Haridwar Kumbh Mela. Well, we invited one day almost 200 monks from other, ashrams and monasteries, and then those places they togetherly chanting verses from chapter 12 or chapter 15. And sometimes when we do the dead work, we praying for the departed soul, we do chant in the chapter 10 also. So chapter 10 is very important. So the question I raised, that these people wrong who do not worship image in front? That answer we are going to listen next week. Thank you joining with me in this beautiful session of Bhagavad Gita. Be with the Lord, and thank you once again. Namaskar.
Thank you.